Hi, I'm Mac McCarthy, and I help people with their breakups. And today we have a hell of a podcast coming to you. The Breakup Podcast, number 14, Breakup Stories Unpacked. This is going to be what we do on this Breakup Podcast. We're going to talk about real breakup stories, unpack them. I do take calls, and I do have an Instagram contest that we'll be running starting today if you want to play by the rules and possibly get yourself a live coaching session for free. So if you go to Instagram, Coach Mac McCarthy, everything's there. I believe it involves 3 likes and some other things. But definitely go check that out at Instagram, Coach Mac McCarthy or Coach Mac McCarthy Instagram. If you like this live stream, tell me you like it. If you don't like it, it's better to have an opinion. And if you really, really like it, maybe you want to subscribe. Sabina, happy Halloween. Hope it's going well. I don't know how many people will be on, if they're busy with Halloween parties or if they're Halloween people. But the show goes on with the breakups of the world, which are many, many, many. So, also today I was going to talk about the recent amount of people that are sending their story in, and it's been great. And if you want to send in your story, send it in to writemac.com. So let's start unpacking some stories right now. And right off the bat, this one was just sent in a couple days ago. Hey, Mac, my bipolar girlfriend and I broke up. We haven't been working out lately. Excuse me. We were good online when we first met. Everything was working out for a couple of months. So first question right off the bat, did you know this girl was, or your girlfriend was bipolar? Is she medically diagnosed by a professional, or is this just something, because sometimes people just go, oh yeah, she's bipolar or he's bipolar, but they're not really, haven't been defined in that way, or they went online and came up with that on their own. So that would be my question. If that was something that was disclosed to you in the beginning, and then you didn't see signs of it harming your relationship till later on, because from what I understand with bipolar people, and I'm not an expert, it's highly erratic, highly up and down. And the fact that you met first online, is that ideal? And all I was doing is helping her. She was happy at first. So in the beginning of the relationship, if I'm correct, you were helping her with being bipolar. I don't know if that's a good place to start. She was happy at first, and then she asked me to go to Ohio to live with her because she's been talking about our future and that she wanted to get married. So I went to her house like she asked, for everything was good at first. Then she started ignoring me, showing off to her friends. Then 8 months, she kicked me out of Ohio, that I had to drive to Detroit, then drive all the way 8 hours back to New York. I took a plane to North Carolina to visit a friend. Things didn't work out there, so I flew back to New York, then saying that she kicked me out because she dumped me and accused me of being controlling and abusive when I was trying to help her. She blocked me saying she has a boyfriend, then unblocked me saying her kidney was failing and she's going to possibly die in a month. She blocked me again and unblocked me saying she got hit by a car and went to a hospital. Then she ghosted me. At what point, I'm reading this right now and I'm thinking to myself, at what point are you done? I mean, you had me at, if someone accuses me of being controlling and abusive, which is a very strong word to use in accusations, and you feel like that is just absolutely not true. Controlling could be more loosely defined by individuals. Abusive is a very powerful word of language, and someone accusing you of being abusive is a serious thing, and you don't think you did that at all, you're done. Because you do not want to get entangled with an individual that's willing to make accusations like that. That could be damaging to your character. You could be caught up with the law. And I don't know if you were or you weren't. You're saying you're not. And if you're accused of that, you're done. It's done. People making false accusations like that about your character, your livelihood, and possibly your freedom, that's dangerous. And then you saying that I was trying to help her. She blocked me saying she has a boyfriend. Again, next part, she has a boyfriend. You're done. Who cares if she blocks you or unblocks you? The problem is you're waiting to see what she does to you and reporting back to what she's done to you. And you're not taking the bull by the horns and going, okay, where's my power in this situation? Why don't I just block her and be done? because this, I mean, like I said, you had me at, and the idea that here's what people do. Okay, you met her online, which I don't think is ideal. I know that goes on a lot now in the 21st century, in 2020. It's not ideal. It's certainly not a good move to move in with someone that you met online. You need to date. You need to see each other. You need to interact. Moving in together is something that happens naturally and organically after staying at each other's house quite often, and then someone just goes, well, you might as well move in because you stay over all the time. You don't move into someone like cold turkey, like, oh, we've been talking online and she wants to get married and she wants to talk to me. That's 0 to 100, and when you get to that point, you can go to, when people go 0 to 100 real quick, they go 100 to 0 quick also. It goes both ways. And so people like that are very capable of, as fast as they are falling in love with you and being lovey-dovey and let's get married, is how fast they'll fall out of love with you. I just recently had someone that sent in their coaching or their story. We did live coaching, and they had a situation where I think it was 1.5 years. This guy was a very sharp individual, early 40s. Girlfriend was late 30s. They met online. Everything was rose petals and wine glasses. They both had kids. They just interacted really well. And this guy, we did a live coaching session. He's a very smart individual, very intelligent. And this wasn't one of those things where he just fell quick. He felt like they were a real match. They saw each other within 1.5 years. They were engaged. She asked him to marry her. And then as quickly as she fell in love, she fell out of love. And, there's no certainty in this whole thing. But how you do one thing is how you do everything. I don't know if that's 100% true, but I think it's about 80% true. I think that there's a lot of truth to that. We can change who we are. We can change how we value things. But if someone's going to fall into love instantly and go into marriage instantly and live together, they can fall out of it just as quickly. So the idea that you did all this and you're like, wow, I did this for her. I was just trying to make her happy. It doesn't fucking matter. Because you kept doing it. And the reality is you are creating covert contracts where you're like, well, I moved in with her, so she should stay with me. Well, I helped her out with her bipolar, so she shouldn't get angry at me. It doesn't work that way. This individual is telling you who she is right when she called you controlling and abusive. I mean, you're done. If that's not true, you're done. Bye-bye. Then saying that she has a new boyfriend. Bye-bye. Saying her kidney was failing and she's going to die. That's something that you might want to say, okay, is that true? I'm worried about you. I just want to let you know I wish you all the best. But still, from a distance, you're broken up now. She blocked me again, unblocked me saying she got hit by a car. These are huge red flags because, again, going back to the statement where she called you abusive and you're saying that you weren't abusive, this individual is a pathological liar now. And so what's true? You need to disentangle from her. Got hit by a car, went to the hospital, and she ghosted me and blocked me, then unblocked me saying she missed me, and she regrets it, saying she's getting me back. Then she asked to get her new phone, so I got mailed her a new phone. I don't understand why you would be entangled with an individual like this. If you feel like you need to chase someone like this, you need to take some honest self-assessment of who you are as an individual. She was happy at first, then she changed and started to not care about me and told me that she kicked me out because she dumped me and told me her family didn't want me around, ghosted me, started hanging out with friends, and she was getting drunk. She started lying about the breakup. Okay, she lied about the breakup from the beginning and went into a rebound relationship with her friend, and then she told me she cheated and she has a boyfriend again. Wow. And all this stuff's happening to you. You're being a victim. This is a classic victim. She did this to me, and then she did that to me, and then she did this to me, and then she did that to me. It's like, have you ever seen V for Vendetta? One of the turning points of that movie is the person's in jail, and then they go, the door's been unlocked the whole time. Think about that for a minute. You have total free will to not have this done to you. But instead, you're creating this situation where, like, look what she did then. And then she did this to me. And then she did that to me. And then she did this to me. Where's your power? Your power is to break up, move on, move forward, and stop allowing an individual. If someone fools you once, fools you twice, fools you 3 times, like I said, accusations such as these, they're just uncalled for, unacceptable, and be done. Have some values and some morals and have some goddamn dignity. She has a boyfriend again, but she didn't have one. She was using her friend to get over me. Who knows if that's true? And she half blocked me and ghosted me. The weird thing about it is I would text her, but she wouldn't even full block. Why are you chasing her? This would be something that I would definitely invest in a live coaching session, because you got to get to the bottom of why you're chasing your tail here. But she wouldn't even full block me or delete pictures of us from social media and videos from YouTube. I felt upset and hurt after the breakup. Well, again, you have a situation where you're thinking that this is happening to you as an innocent bystander and you're being a victim. And the reality is you have a role in this because you keep coming back for more. You're not standing up for yourself. And these kind of individuals that you're dealing with here, regardless if there's bipolar involved, regardless of, I can't believe she did that. Would she unblock me and now she wants me again? What are you chasing? Do you honestly feel like you're not capable of being in a relationship with a healthy individual that has confidence and doesn't lie repeatedly? That would be a good question to ask yourself. And that's the one that you want to get to the core of, because this kind of stuff's just going to go down, 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 down. People that want to get married within a year, red flag, right? I mean, marriage isn't what it used to be in a lot of places. It's something to be really looked at. And I've come across this recently where, well, then that means they love me even more. I don't know. Sounds like that girl had personality disorder issues. Sounds not as just as bipolar. People use bipolar as an excuse because having personality disorder is worse. All that impulsive behavior. She's putting one leg over the other, enjoying you chasing. And people that use lies, though, when you get to a region in your life where you're a full-grown adult, it's like I've witnessed people like, you're in your 30s and you're doing bold-faced lies that affect people's livelihood or character. I mean, it's just, jeez, man. She's putting on one leg. Yeah, something is off there. Some people continuously go for that sort of chasing. It's an addiction to the drama for them. Show me who you date. I will tell you where your self-esteem's at. That's a good point, Azam. I definitely think that, Azam, there's manipulative people out there that can fool people with personas and the way. Luna Martinez, happy Halloween. I've been waiting on your stream. Wow, I've been waiting on your stream. Right on, Skinner. I appreciate you, bud. Happy Halloween. But there are people out there, Azam, to be fair, that can be manipulated, right? I mean, I'm not giving everyone an out, but at what point does someone? There are some individuals out there that, yeah, some people are too empathetic to see manipulation. That's a good way. It takes experience. It's a type of person, right? That being said, but when you write out your story like this individual just did, and you can kind of see it in plain day, you're like, wow. I mean, what's going on? Here's what's really interesting about people these days. And in the book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck by Mark Manson, I'm not gonna recite it for verse. I think I've only read the book twice or listened to it on audio twice. Not the 10 times of a Corey Wayne book, right? But he talked, and it didn't really resonate at first. Sometimes these books that make really good points, they don't resonate right away, and then you're like, yeah, goddamn, that's so true. And I don't know if he was, basically what you don't realize is that, what's up, Aleph, Laffy, Quince? Basically, you don't realize that, yeah, you're a little late. No worries. Just a little bit. I started at 10:30 instead of 10. So, what he talks about in the book, though, is that everyone. Let me rewind, because he's talking more or less about America or Western culture, I think, because this isn't the world, to be quite frank. This is what's interesting when you live somewhere else in a different part of the world with a different culture, a culture that I like. It's my birthday, by the way. I accept cash. Only birthday wish days, not so much. Well, happy fucking birthday, Azam. You are a good human being, I believe. Wish you all the best, bud. November 1st. Oh, is it actually Halloween? One of my other really good friends is on Halloween. This is a random, maybe stupid question, but I know you're in Saudi Arabia. Do they celebrate Halloween at all there? Just out of curiosity. I mean, you might not even be on. It might be November 1st for you because you're somewhere else. Halloween is my birthday. Okay, because I don't know your time. You know, talking to different people, we all just assume everyone's in the same time spot. Scorpio season. In my camp, they do. Okay. I was just curious. But going back to this individual, there's individuals out there right now that seriously identify with being a victim. It's like this story that you read through it. It's like, at what point do you go, wait a minute here? Because people get excited about telling you bad news now. Oh, and this happened to me, and then this happened to me. Oh, and this happened to me. Oh, and then they did this to me. You know? At what point do you go, you know what, I'm done with this, right? You have two choices: go on offense or run away, or stick around and just wah, 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 wah. And people love it now. They love a good victim story. They love it. There's a time and place for it. You deserve compassion and understanding. Repeated stuff of putting yourself in a situation where you somehow feel like you have no power, and this individual keeps blocking you and unblocking you. I would start there. If you have one situation on social media with your ex where you go, they blocked me, they unblocked me, they're controlling the situation because somehow you're tuned in passively, right? And you're somehow believing that by doing that you're still fucking connected when you're not. Why not you block them? Why not you erase their access to your social media if it means that damn much to you? Why not take some ownership, right? I mean, it's just baffling the amount of stock and care people put into the social media platforms. I mean, I've had friends that are in their 40s and like, yeah, I don't talk to her anymore. She blocked me on Facebook, and I'm like, what? How do you even know that? Oh no, she did. It's like, well, maybe something you posted or did, offend. Yep, we're done. I'll never talk to that woman again. Someone you work with. It's like, who the fuck cares? Really? I remember years back on social media, there was one friend that I went to grade school with and middle school with, and the things he was posting, I was just like, what the fuck is this? This is bizarre. You know what I mean? And then I just went, I'm just gonna defriend him or whatever like that. But I didn't think for a minute. I was like, if I saw this individual back home on the street or something, I was at a deli or at a cafe or something, I saw him, I'd say, hey, what's up? How you been? Have some small talk. I wouldn't be like, oh yeah, the post that you put on Facebook offended me so much that I can't believe what you did. We're going to make a citizen's arrest here. It's like, yeah, why not just be done and just defriend individuals? It's like cleaning out your closet. By the way, you're not really friends. You're not really. Does anyone ever know Dunbar's law of 150 people? You could only truly know like 150 people. It's like a human law. Look it up. It's called Dunbar's law. And people somehow think, oh, I got 3,000 friends and 8,000 followers on Instagram. These people are not your friends. They don't. And here's another thing. Newsflash. Not that many people give a fuck as much as you think they do about you. They really don't. Think about that for a minute. Like your close friends and family, your ex, they give a fuck. They do. This is a big question every time someone breaks up. Oh, does my ex miss me? They don't even care about. They care about you. If you were a good person, you were in their lives, they care about you. I would add though, but part of breaking up, the person that breaks up with the other person, because I've broke up with women before where I was the one to break up with them. It's not easy. It's not something you go, all right, I just got to pick up the dry cleaning tomorrow. I'm going to go to the gym. And then I'm going to break up with Susie Q, in the afternoon. That'll be easy and dusted. It doesn't work that way unless you're a psychopath and you have no feelings. And so what I would add is when someone goes, wow, they haven't even called me yet. If your ex breaks up with you and they give you clear reasons, or they've hinted over time. This is what happens in your story all the time, is it, oh, I don't know what happened, or I think they did this, I think they did that. What did they say to you? Well, they said that, they just don't love me anymore and they just see me as a friend. Well, that's why they broke up with you. Well, I think it's actually because what did they tell you? A lot of times, if they're a solid individual and you had a good relationship, they might have said it in a nice way. And then you go through all these things. Well, why do they just think I'm a friend? Well, could it be this? Could it be that? It doesn't matter. It's fucking done. But when you get to that point, where they're like, oh yeah, it's what's the alternative? To stick around and ask more questions? Now let me take this from a different direction. The person that broke up with you, if they've got love for you, if they've got care for you, them not contacting you after you didn't take the breakup well is actually them caring about you. Think about that for a minute. I've told people this before. I said, look, if they're not gonna, it's an interesting thing, the 150 people. If I did a social media site, I would cap everyone at 150 people. You just have small tribes. 2,000, 3,000 people, it's overload, it's overkill, it's impossible. 150 people, look it up, Dunbar Law. I think, Rob, I've mentioned it before. You know what it is. It's actually really interesting. You should only have groups of 150 that's the only thing human beings can keep track of. But getting back to this, if your ex doesn't contact you and they know you had a problem with the breakup and you're taking it really hard and you're not accepting, them not contacting you is actually a form of consideration, because they know every time they contact you that you get hope and that you want more and that you're on a different spectrum than them and that you're in a tougher place in this breakup. And by you contacting them, you make them weaker and weaker. And, by the way, you might just take advantage of them because they're going to be overcompensating and doing extra things for you. So the idea when someone breaks up and they don't contact you after a while, it might be because they know you're not going to be receptive to being friends. And that's actually very strong and considerate of your ex to go, you know what, I know Rob's not going to be happy with the breakup, so I'm not going to contact him off and on and explain myself or say that we have to be friends, because he was very clear he doesn't want to be friends. That's respectful. All right, we got 10 on deck, 3 likes. I appreciate you all. I got some more older stories to unpack here, but I wasn't sure with Halloween how many people were going to be out trick-or-treating. I hear that in some places in the world that I was just talking to my mother today. I guess in California, they're encouraging individuals not to trick or treat. I mean, what's next? Won't get into that, but just amazing. Isn't it amazing how quick the world changed, huh? So you're absolutely not allowed to have Halloween. And correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong, Francois, however I say your name. You got a kid too. All right, let's not go into those things. Don't want to make it that. I go into a lot of different directions, but I'm not going politics. Nope. Hello. This story is actually pretty embarrassing. I've got to tell you, and I'm glad my identity won't be shared. I broke up with my girlfriend about 2 months ago. We were together off and on for 8 years. We fought and made up a lot. Someone once told me that once you stop wanting to fight about things, you stop the passion and care of the relationship altogether. I think there's some truth to that. I don't know if it's absolutely true, but there is some truth to that for sure. I'm now 32 years old, and she's 28. I just think we got sick of each other. I just think we got sick of the fighting, and I guess our creative intimacy life wasn't as fun as it was. Actually, the intimacy life and how great it was the heartbeat of our relationship. That's a really interesting thing, because intimacy is valued by different individuals in relationships at different levels. Let me say that again, because everyone thinks like, oh, it's such an important thing. It is for most people. If people ranked the most important things in relationships to themselves, like long-term relationships, it would be different for most people. But people from the outside go, oh my goodness, this person they haven't had intimacy in 6 months. The amount of people that tell me that, 3 months, 6 months, and then you know what they do? They do this one. We do other stuff though. we don't sleep together anymore, but we do other stuff. And I'm like, okay. It's up to the individuals, but it usually, acceptance of that kind of stuff creates roles in your long-term relationship where you start to say, well, let's just pay our house bills, take care of the kids, and we don't need to do the intimate thing anymore. It's a choice. Actually, we are both teachers, don't make a lot of money, but I thought for us it didn't matter. So prior to breaking up 2 months ago, things got repetitive in the bedroom, and I started pleasuring myself off a lot with okay. This didn't help our relationship as I started wanting my girl to do some crazy things I saw in the movies. She tried things but drew a line at some point. I really always wanted more in the bedroom. I guess it's every man's dream. So finally I got my way. But she said, I don't know if I'm going to go into this one. This is one of those ones you might have to take off. Yeah, might be a little too risque. The details in this one, I don't know if they're okay to go into details on that. I'm going to leave that one alone. Maybe we'll share that one for if I do a private membership group for YouTube or something like that, or Patreon. Because some of this stuff, it gets too descriptive. All right, let's go to the next story. Some of these stories, I don't read them before I bring them back on from the emails. I wish I didn't need to write. Hey, Macalino, I wish I didn't need to write this. It feels like a desperate cry from a pathetic loser. I'm 40 years old and my husband just left me for another man. He's 42 years old and left me for another. He's also, what makes it even more shocking to me, he said they had been seeing each other for a while, and now his pension is coming up in about 5 years. Wow, that seems early to get your pension in 5 years. He wanted to move away and give me a chance to start a new life. Thank God we never had kids. He's been honest and upfront about everything, but I still feel like shit. Well, of course you do, because you didn't see it coming. He's got someone new. I'm assuming I'm not sure if you're a woman or a man, because it doesn't describe here if this is a gay couple or not. Honest and upfront about everything, but I still feel, well, if you didn't have kids, you're a female then. He had everyone fooled, and the thing is, it's so embarrassing to tell your friends and family what happened, but there's no way around it. I know they are laughing behind my back. My brother-in-law had a smirk on his face the whole time I told my sister. He just said, I'm not surprised. My sister consoled me. She says I can do better and we'll do better. I've actually come across this before more than once where someone that's married and they've been married for a long time, the individual leaves. I haven't seen it with a woman, but the man leaves for another guy. Yeah, a specific case actually came up. It was a couple years ago. The woman, basically, her husband, she had been dating for, 5 or 6 years, but she said she knew he was bisexual before they were together. In other words, she knew that he had gay partners. And but when they were together, they were good together. They were great together. They got married. And then she said when they got married, he said he could no longer do it, and he just missed men, so to say. And in this particular case, I could see how it would be embarrassing if it came out of nowhere. But again, when people, you think, we all do this. You think people care about your life. If someone makes a comment, like the brother-in-law is making a joke or laughing about the fact that, your husband's now gay or with a new man, he might laugh about it. He might make a comment that's insensitive, right? But he's not gonna carry this. It's not gonna be on his mind as much as it's gonna be on your mind. If he thinks this way, who cares? My sister consoled me. She says, I can do better and we'll do better. I just feel this shame about it all. You shouldn't feel shame at all. This should be this. It's the equivalent of if he left you for a woman. It's the same thing. The idea that if it was a woman or a man, I would venture to say you'd feel just as bad, maybe less embarrassed. But, a lot of women, when they're left for another woman, end up comparing themselves to them. There's all other kinds of parts to this. It's only been 3 weeks, and now I have a lawyer, and I'm told I'll get half of his pension and half the house. Well, good for you. So I have a few bucks coming to me, but I'm not excited about it at all. Well, you're not in a place to be excited about it. I don't have any long-term plans and just feel empty right now. How do I break out of this funk and get on with my life? I would highly recommend looking at where you want to live outside of where you live now. Because if you guys had a house or shared something together, the fact that you're getting money, what would be the most beautiful, exciting, fun place to live and move there within your realm? That's what I would look at. What's something you can do now that you're single that you couldn't do while you were together? And whether that's salsa dancing, I don't know, whatever. Get an exciting future on deck. And I would highly recommend a live coaching session with myself, because you do need to talk to someone and get everything out, and not just your sister while the brother-in-law's in the background laughing or smirking. That's going to make you feel less shame. Talking to someone that's not going to be judging you would be very good for you. Yeah, it was a bit X-rated. That's happened a lot more these days. Yeah, Rob, it has. It's not uncommon. I wouldn't find it, it depends on, I wouldn't find it, extraordinary if someone said, some man left his wife for another man, or vice versa, a woman left her man for another woman. I'm sure it's happened over time, and it's happened again and again. And an individual that makes a joke about it or laughs about it, so what? So what? You don't live with that person. You don't hang out with them. And you know what? Karma comes around. Hello, I'm not sure what to do or where to turn, so now I'm writing you. Hope you can help. I had a bad breakup just yesterday. I always seem to attract losers and bloodsuckers. Well, that's one of those things where you believe that to be true, so it will be true. I'm a 29-year-old woman. This is my third failed long-term relationship. I judge long-term as being 2 years or longer. This recent one was 3.5 years, and it was hell most of the time. My ex is 35 years old, going on 16. He smokes herb, plays video games, eats a lot of cereal. I can't believe I supported his life. Doesn't that sound like Forgetting Sarah Marshall, where he's eating the cereal? God, I used to love cereal myself. Easy to clean up, too. I can't believe I supported this lifestyle of his for this long. I guess I just feel sorry for him. I feel like his mother, and he knows how to push my buttons. He's actually been on unemployment for 6 months and now wants to sue his job for permanent disability. Oh, so he could be lazier. Well, if that's true that he's disabled, then okay, but if he's just doing it for that reason, I told him I don't want to be with a couch potato any longer and walked out. Go for you. It's only been a day and he's already putting a guilt trip on me about being able to pay the bills this month by himself. I just don't want to be in his presence because I know he'll get my pity and I might go back. So if you know that, I would cut off all contact and I would ask yourself, do you want to do this for another 2, 3, 4 years? People's habits are, they're going to build up to something. So if he continues this couch potato lifestyle of permanent disability on and on and on, it's just going to get worse. How do I stay away and move on? You stay away and move on. Start with staying away. Moving on will come with staying away, if that makes sense. Cut off all contact, block the phone, block the thing. He's an adult. I'm 20. You didn't say how old he is. You're 29 years old. You know who you want to be and where you're at. And I would say, my ex is 35 years old. I would say that the longer you're away from him, the less patience you would have for the pity, if that makes sense. So give yourself a good month, 2 months where you just are like, I'm not going to talk to you or contact you. The good news is he doesn't seem like you have any other entanglements like a house together or anything like that. This person needs to talk to someone who isn't attached to the situation. The brother-in-law was probably smirking because he knew the guy was gay. Many boys need mummy wife in 30s, but she should recheck her behavior. Okay. Hello, coach. Please help. I broke up with my ex a month ago. Can't let go. We were together for 2 years. We were both in our mid-20s. We broke up a month ago after I caught her going home with another guy at a wedding we attended together. She suddenly disappeared off the dance floor with this guy, and I caught her getting into the car. I followed them to a hotel, waited outside the room for an hour before she came back out. I confronted her, and she laughed, saying it was nothing. The guy left the scene like it was a hit and run. Well, it was in a way. The next day, when she sobered up, she said, I was drunk, and you know how I get. We didn't have intimacy, I promise, just kissed and stopped there. I wouldn't believe that. I didn't believe her. I told her, get out of the house. I was done. Now, a month later, I keep replaying the scene, and I beat the guy up in the scene. I stop her at the car before she leaves. I keep rearranging what happened to other outcomes. Yeah, this is really interesting. It's driving me nuts. What should I do? Move on? I would get hypnotherapy. because this is a reoccurring thing. It's almost like a dream where you're awake. But I've had situations like this where there's incidents that I didn't do something, not just in a relationship, and then you replay it in your head like you would have done something different. And if that's coming up again and again, like I said, I would do emotional freedom technique, or I would use hypnotherapy. I actually do those things with clients because when you're replaying something in your head, you're stuck. Your computer, the mainframe, is fucked up. And to rewrite what's going on in there, I would say hypnotherapy is one of the best ones. And a lot of times people go, oh, I don't know if I would want to do that. I would be open to trying new things. It's done. You did the right thing. Don't give her the time of day. So many addictive behavior stories. Hello, Coach Mac. I broke up with my boyfriend about 2 weeks ago, and I just can't get that last fight out of my head. I was doing laundry like I always do. And then he came out of the garage to tell me he just read a Facebook message I got. I had not signed out. It was my ex-boyfriend from a long time ago wanting to catch up and have some drinks. I said, sure, that would be cool. Of course, I didn't tell my boyfriend yet, but I intended to. And I don't think he intended to. But I mean, be honest with yourself. And I wasn't even sure if I was going to cancel or not yet. I mean, getting drinks with your ex, you know, it's one thing if you said you were going to get breakfast or coffee. Getting drinks, someone just called in on a live stream a few days ago, and he was saying he always goes and gets a drink on a first date because it eliminates the friend zone. A drink is more intimate. It's different. It greases the wheels, if you will, for something else. And so I think it would be different if you were going to get lunch or you're going to get coffee. But the fact that you were, I don't believe that you were going to tell him. I think he's just pissed and upset because my ex is rich. Well, his family is rich, and so is he. He inherited a lot of property and now gets something like $12,000 a month from a trust. Well, whoop-de-whoop. I mean, obviously that's impressive to most people. I would say that if your husband or your boyfriend doesn't make a lot of money, that would be a threat. Because right now with the economy where it is and someone getting that much money a month could do what they want. So basically he's living the life, and yes, I'm intrigued. Well, there you go. There's your honesty. That's your first honest statement. You're intrigued. That's why you're going to get drinks. So if you were going to, I get why my current boyfriend is upset, but we didn't have to break up. No, you didn't have to break up. But for him, this was a line that he didn't want to deal with. I wanted him to promise I'd never talk to a guy or any other ex again. He wanted that. He said I was his now and had been for a while. That set me off. So this was a controlling statement. He never talks like this. I wasn't going to accept it. Finally, he said, "Get out of here, you whore." Ooh, that's a dark word, isn't it? Such an old word, but a dark word to be directly called. That was it. I walked out, went on my mom's, have been here for 2 weeks, and yes, I met with the old ex that week. I was curious how he was doing. He actually just came out of a breakup and put it on me that he was thinking of how great we had it. See, this is what's really interesting. Women do this quite a bit, but men do too. You break up with someone, and some people fall into pity, some people fall into victimhood, some people fall into I miss them so much, and other people start going through their address book, if you will, in their head, and they go, oh yeah, maybe I should hit up Rhonda, Kim. Yeah, she used to like me. And women are accused of this way more. I've actually had it happen to me worse. Out of the blue, some woman I was talking to, dating or flirting with in the past, 2 years later is like, hey, Mac, what's up? And you're like, hey, what's going on? And then you hang out, you go out, you meet up. It's a discovery mission. And you quickly find out that they just broke up with someone or got a divorce within the last 3 months. And they went through their address book and goes, who's my options here? A lot of times people will go with someone from the past rather than scavenge around for new things. So there's a reason why he asked you for drinks. He actually just came out of a breakup, put it on me that he was thinking of how great we had it. It was a bit much for the first meeting. I just said I'd call him to meet up again. But honestly, I miss the recent boyfriend more now Then finally he called me up yesterday after 2 weeks of no contact to apologize and say he overreacted. Ooh. It felt, I mean, he probably needs to apologize for calling you a whore. That's probably crossing the line. That's a word that not women would. But I wouldn't apologize for the whole enchilada as far as calling you out on going out with your ex. It felt good. He wants me back and I miss him, but I want to see where things go with the rich ex too. Okay, well, you're just being vindictive and unfair. How should I play this? I think I need to keep my options open. Okay, well, you could play this a few different ways. Obviously, you're looking at the selfish one, which most people will, to be quite honest. And this is what's good about writing your story, because you can be honest and non-bullshitty, where you tell your people different parts of this. You're saying, I want to keep my options open, then do it. But don't be surprised if the ex that you like, that you miss, sniffs you out again, because he's done it once and he hasn't accepted it. This is an opportunity. If you're going to have to pick one avenue or the other. There's certainly less certainty with the rich ex-boyfriend. And let me add this. If the guy's getting $12,000 a month and he just came out of a relationship and he's already contacting you, what I would ask is, why did you break up in the first place? What were those reasons? Are those fixable? Are those going away? And then I would ask yourself, how can I lead my life with good intentions and honesty? Come back to that again and again and again. And would this be the way I wanted to be treated if my ex was in the same situation? I wouldn't go back to the boyfriend simply because he called me a whore, no matter how bad it gets. I don't call people names. People have long memories. Names and words mean different things to different people. So the value that someone puts on someone calling them a whore or a bitch or any of these other names, I remember I had a client, and it was interesting because he was in his early 40s, owned a business, really cool dude. We did a live coaching session, and his girlfriend was 25, and he was pretty impressed with it. He had like a little smirk on his face. He's like, yeah, she's 25, she's hot. And I was like, good for you. Good for you. And he basically said some things that he thought were playful, and they could be taken playful. And I think he said something like in a text like, you sexy bitch, or something like that. I think he said something like that. And she just lost it. She lost it. She's like, don't ever talk to me like that. And he didn't mean it like that. He didn't mean it like that. He meant it in a way to be playful and fun. And he apologized to her and everything like that. But that's where age differs, is you can have attraction with age. You can be attracted to maturity and different things, and you can vibe. But I've seen this again and again with guys that are older, and the women are in their 20s and the guys are in their early 40s. And the guys, even these guys that are late 30s, or I would say early 40s, and the woman's in their late 20s, they're excited, the woman's excited, but usually connection and chemistry hits a speed bump because you're from different generations. You're from different decades. You've seen different things. You look at the world differently. And what happens is you get in a hiccup where you're like, wow, I can't believe you said that, or I can't believe you would do that. And the other person's like, wow, that's really petty. And a lot of times it's the age difference. Like I said, you're from different times. It's equivalent of like, I'm 39 now. I do not consider myself old, right? But I'm around 20 years old. People in their early 20s, I'm like, okay, yeah, I remember when I used to think I knew everything too. And like, you just get wiser with time and life experience. And so when you're in a relationship with someone like that, it can be a lot of fun. But one person probably has to be, each person has to be more understanding that you guys you're going to communicate differently. I like the way Mac handled her. She was trying to play like she was innocent. No, she's not innocent at all, but I was called Gestapo and left. I am of the left progressive. Gestapo, okay. Everyone's got an opinion and a label to throw on people these days, right? And you know what's a great fucking line for the 12 people on deck and the 4 likes? This is a great line. I've come back to it a lot myself. And it's one that's extremely simple English. And I actually came across it in Thailand because a lot of people use it. Up to you what you want to think. It doesn't sound very eloquent, but if you can do, it's like someone starts ragging on you or like, oh yeah, this or that. It's like, oh, well, up to you what you want to think. It just neutralizes it. And you think to yourself, all right, someone accuses you of something you don't think is true, or you don't think that you need to defend yourself about because that's not what lines up with who you are, what you're about. Don't backpedal and explain yourself, because now they got you. Now they've entered your mind, danced around for a little bit, and you're actually, when you're defending yourself, you're entertaining their comment as truth. And if you do that, in a lot of ways, they win. And they'll if they're really good, they'll continue to badger you with that if they know it bothers you. The greatest answer is like, all right, up to you what you want to think, and leave it alone. Walk away. Be done. I'm not going to argue with someone that has a faulty concept of who I am, right? And I think that I didn't come to realize that till I was in my 30s, but like, it's a very powerful statement. It really is. Someone goes on and on, they say, oh yeah, you're a bad dresser, or they say you're fat, or you're this, and you don't feel it's true about yourself. Oh, you're lying about this. Up to you what you want to think. Up to you what you want to believe about me. It's like, go ahead. We as individuals are who we have to live with and answer to. Unless it's someone you really respect, or you're hearing the same comment over and over again from multiple people from multiple walks, then it might be something you should look at. If it's something that someone says about you and you never heard that before, you might want to go, fuck, in all the years I've been alive, this is the only person that said this to me. Do they mean it? Is it true? Or are they just trying to fucking manipulate me? All right, another one. Hello, I hate breakups. I really do. Who the hell likes breakups? I've been through a lot of breakups in my life. I've had some bad luck with women. I really do. That's a belief. I always get these stress cases that are full of drama. They start fires. I put them out all the time. So you think this finds you. My most recent breakup happened for about 3 weeks ago. We were together for 3 years. She just turned 30. I'm 35. We don't have kids. We each own a house we rent out somewhere else. Well, that's nice. Money has never been a problem for us. I think I just get sick of her bitching and moaning about her mother, her brother, and sister. She feels like her sister is favored by her mom and gets more than her, and the brother's a crackhead. Just constant drama. Then you have her mom, who's never had a positive thing to say in her life, and the ex is going down the same path, just constantly negative. She's a good-looking woman. When you enter a long-term relationship, I think this is highly underrated. If whatever relationship that individual has with their family, you are sliding into a position where you're going to have to deal with that family over time. Sometimes I've had where, like, in the beginning, if someone doesn't have good relationships with their families, they keep you to the side. They don't make you aware of it, but eventually it's going to be a part of your life too. So just be aware of that. And people don't just get rid of their family. So it's always going to be there, bad, good, happy, sad, or not. That is always. She's a good-looking woman that is always fishing for compliments behind closed doors, is very insecure. You got a lot of things going on here. I had to tell her she looked great 5 times before we could leave the house. The question is, if you have to do that for 3 years, you want to do it for another 3 years? The final issue is when she accused me of calling her fat. I just said she had gained a few pounds and actually looked like a little meat on the bones. She flipped this into calling her fat. So that means that's how she feels about herself. At some point, this internal was screaming. This internal voice was screaming, fucking leave this crazy bitch. That's what I did. Okay, I guess that internal person was your gut. Now, 3 weeks later, she called me every day begging me back. I can't shake her. I've come close to having her over for some comfort intimacy. It was good for both of us. It would be good for both of us. Do you think I should just shut off all contact to get over this? Yes. Am I playing with fire here? Yes. Anytime you get back with your ex and you have an intimate night and it's for intimacy, you are reopening things up. And usually the person that you broke up with feels like that might be a path back to getting back together. So it can be very, very misleading. Skinner, you are jumping like a parachuter. I feel him. Why are you with someone who has such issues? You know what? This is why you got to write your story out. Some people don't see it until they write their story out. They just impulsively go through life like, oh, this again? Oh, that happened? Oh, and then this? I've witnessed it in my own life. I've witnessed it with other people. I'm like, at what point are you going to take fucking inventory, dude? So its expression jumped as a parachuter. Okay. She was probably fat. That's your gut. Well, saying you got a little meat on your bones and saying you're fat is different. You know what I mean? It's like, that's a classic example of what I'm talking about when someone twists your words to become a victim and then somehow is making you out to be the bad guy. When in reality, if you ever read the book Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz, great book, one of the first self-improvement type books. The guy was a plastic surgeon who said that no matter how good a job he did, if someone felt bad about themselves, they'd find the surgery to be shitty. And the people that found themselves to be in good places, they would find it good. God, I ran into someone a few days ago that just got a nose job, and I didn't even recognize her. I was shocked. I was like, is that? And this was a good-looking woman. I mean, it's just amazing. Just amazing. And the nose, like to get a nose job, they're really popular over here to get their nose jobs done. And it's just like, it's one of those, such a definitive thing about an individual's face. You know, I never think to myself, I like my nose or I don't like my nose. But damn, to mess with your nose. Jeez. A bit of meat is sexy to me. Don't like skinny women. Sabina is... I think women are more open about what they find attractive in other women, even when they're not lesbian, where men would never make a comment like that. Not many would. Be like, oh, yeah, this, that, or the other. Women are much more judgmental, good or bad, about other women. I think that would be true. Women are checking out other women a lot. And I don't know if that's just, that wouldn't be just for intimacy. It would be maybe for comparison. What do you think, Sabina? But it's just very common because any girlfriend I've ever had, they're gauging other women. They're checking them out. Competition anxiety, yeah. Anxiety or not, they're comparing. Like if you bring, let's say you had a company party to go to, and you bring your girlfriend, and she's probably going to be checking out the women you work with just as much as she would check out, you know, if there's a guy she finds hot there. But I like to express my opinion on humans. Easy, much than men not checking in my case. Well, the funny thing is, men won't say, oh, that's a good-looking guy, or something. I can at 39 years old. I'm like, oh, it's good-looking guy. If one of my friends or family members or something like that is with someone, you could. Brad Pitt's a good-looking guy, right? Doesn't mean anything to me. But guys that would be like, oh, I don't ever check out, man, or it's not checking them out. It's more or less just recognizing if someone's good looking or not good looking. But the funny thing about that, guys get really judgmental about a guy's looks when it's their ex-girlfriend with a new guy. Then it's like, this guy's ugly. I can't believe she's with him. It's like, okay, if he was really good looking, would you say it? It's like, you know what I mean? It's like, come on. You don't. Who wants to know who their ex is dating after they're done with you? I don't want to be. You know what I mean? Who wants to know? I don't want to know if my ex is with someone new. I don't want to. If I come across it, fine, done. But to look for it on social media or in pictures or investigate it, no. No way. Absolutely not. Hello, coach. I'm 28 years old. My wife or recent ex is 31 years old. She's A and I'm A. I'm not going to tell them what the jobs they do. I actually own my own company, have 10 guys under me. We live in the Bay Area. It's easy to make money here, but easy to spend too. Going out to dinner in the city can easily cost $100 after a tip, high-class dinner for two. Now, here's the thing. We got money, but I was taught to value money. We may have kids one day, and I don't want to be throwing my money down the drain. My wife says I worry too much, and we deserve to treat ourselves. That's the problem. She treats herself way too much. I've come across this story before. Every weekend, it's very similar to a past story. Every weekend, she goes to the mall, spends a lot of money. A buddy of mine says his wife spends more and thinks I'm lucky. Well, everyone's in their own relationship for different reasons, so don't get caught up on what someone else is willing to accept. A buddy of mine, he said she makes good money. She can spend what she wants. Shit, most men bitch when it's their money being spent, but her being a dentist, she's raking in some nice coin. What my buddy doesn't know is my wife's a young dentist and small practice, high rent. We have over $20K in credit card debt. Damn, house payment that's barely getting paid. See, this is one of those things where you think from the outside everyone's doing really good because they make a lot of money. It's not true. Finally, about a week ago, we had it out, and I said, I'm done. There's no reason to live paycheck to paycheck, or she could spend money like a movie star. Now, a week later, I've come to my senses, and I don't want to lose a good woman. How do we work on this thing? Well, she needs to identify her spending habits as a problem, right? Because if this is habitual, and I think she's chasing a situation where, like I said, this is a bad habit. This is a bad habit, really bad habit. I'm actually really thankful. I've never been in a relationship like this before, but getting back to this is that this is probably not going to go away. It's not going to go away, the spending like this. And so I'm sure there's probably something online where there's, to get your finances right or this or that. Individuals like this might not get a heat check until they're completely destitute and have no money, or they go bankrupt, those kinds of things. But the really interesting thing about this is, from the outside in, everyone would go, oh, these people have a lot of money, but they're living credit card to credit card. You can rack up a lot of bills by not paying attention. I used to shop a lot because I was bored. I finally had the means to really blow money, but I realized I didn't really want the thing. Yeah, objects get less and less valuable as you get older, I think. Since he has a lot of money, it's my birthday. Shall I send it to, I bet, maybe he is National Bank, International at it. They're in debt up to their eyeballs. I think she could be spending to fulfill a void in her life. It could be a void, like shopping and spending money is not just a void, but I've mentioned this before. I think it's one of those things, if someone's parents have done it or friends do it, it's actually, like they call it retail therapy sometimes. It's a way, it's a mission. People go shopping, they know what they want. There's a purpose involved. There's a treat at the end that makes them feel good, right? It's almost like hunters and gatherers. They had the mission of hunting. If you've ever been I've been hunting or fishing before. It's fun. You have a purpose. You have a mission. You have things to prepare for. Shopping's the same way. And I did have an ex-girlfriend that loved to fucking mall shop on the weekends. Looking back, it was one of her favorite things to do. She'd go to the mall. She had credit card debt early in her 20s. And it didn't bother me because we weren't sharing bills. And I never was hit up for extra money for clothes or anything like that. But looking back, if we had a long-term relationship where we got married or something like that, it would have been a problem, because it would have got worse had we were making more money. So the thing is, those kind of habits increase when you make more money. They'll spend more money. And then if you live in a competitive environment where a lot of people are rich, then that's the case where keeping up with the Joneses is very dangerous. All right, we got 12 on deck. Does anyone have any questions? We got the usual characters here on Halloween, which is great. No newbies I can see. Coming up on 1 hour, like I said before, on my Instagram, Coach Mac McCarthy, I will be giving away a live coaching session for 1 hour and I think 30 minutes. It'll be 1 week. That's been posted with the challenge of doing that. Just got a message from an old client today. No call-ins today. No call-ins today. Derek D, Baltimore's finest. The Wire. Thanks, Sabina. We'll see how it works. We'll see how it goes. We're going to be doing some new things here. Double D. Do people really celebrate Halloween that much anymore? I don't know. Obviously not a lot going on if you're on my live stream and you missed out on Halloween. I did go on a Halloween party on Friday, and I went as Larry Bird, the great Larry Bird. My cousin Snoop became famous on The Wire. He wasn't famous already? Isn't he in a wheelchair in that movie? Oh, you mean your actual real cousin Snoop, not Snoop Dogg the rapper. The Wire is probably like a top 10 series ever. It's a great series. It's a detective series. It was just done really well. 12:45 a.m. here. If we knocked on any doors, we'd get shot. That's not good. That's not good. Don't do it then. Man, I loved Halloween as a little kid, though. Did you ever remember when you go on Halloween and that Dom with braids? Okay. Which one's Dom? I don't remember. Yeah, trick-or-treating when I was a kid, I remember, though, that someone would leave out a bowl and you could take, it says like take one or take a couple because they were taking their kids out trick-or-treating. And I remember as a little kid, my mom, I'd be like, oh, we could take the whole bowl. My mom would be like, no, you take one. It's like, you see no boundaries as a kid, right? You don't see any natural values of those kinds of things. It's kind of funny. That's what parents are for, right? Yeah, some spooky, thick women today. You should whisper at podcast, LOL. I've had some, you guys hear all these stories on the live stream. Some of these are emailed. These are shorter ones. Some of them are from a while ago. But the private ones, because I do a private video response, let alone the live coaching sessions, the private video responses, that's when people get nitty gritty. And here's the interesting thing about doing what I do and my approach with the story. The public ones are very bare. They generally are very bare. They don't carry a lot of juicy details. People know like this is going to be on public. Some people don't mind, but most people just, and they usually don't make themselves out to be too big a bad guy. Hence the one earlier today. Like a lot of times it's like what someone else did wrong to them, or they're not understanding, or this or that. The public ones. The private ones that aren't going to be shared are like, yeah, I've been cheating. I know it's my fault, or it's just the details are way, way, way different. And then when you get into unpacking an hour, 2 hour, 3 hours, there's a lot more divulge there too. It's like, that's what's therapeutic about. Like, now you're being honest. And some people will go, can I be honest with you? Yeah, that's what I'm here for. That's your prerogative. It's up to you. But I mean, that's what you're going to pay me for, is that you can be honest for me. It's like a confessional. People used to maybe go to church to go do that or something. Here they do trunk or treat, where kids can go car to car and get candy. Really? Yeah, you didn't sound so enthusiastic telling those few stories. Yeah, they're older ones, and like I said, the ones that come in with the private, sometimes I'm like, you guys want to hear a story. Those are completely different. But where we're going to head with this podcast is we're going to have more call-ins, more people, more live type call-ins. The only thing about it is I do feel it's almost like you're doing live coaching, like I would do in a call. But I like having the live stream on, but sometimes some of the comments are just so insensitive, you know what I mean? That people are just, because there's obvious things that you can look at in other people's problems and go, oh, this guy's an idiot. Or this person, it's like, It's deeper than that. It's actually way deeper. And that's where you get into live coaching sessions where you can ask questions and people can tell the truth. But what I've known in the few times we've had the call-ins, some people just go on and on and on and on. And I have to actually interject where when then that's why you're the professional, not us. Exactly, right? Been doing it a while. But the thing is, when people call in, their story's not as structured. So when I do a live coaching session, I'll have people write their story first. And I'll say, put all the details in, and then I read their story to them. And then I lead. That way it's more organized and it's not going in 100 different directions. Because what people do sometimes, they'll explain one event for about 25 minutes. But when you write it out, there's something in the human brain that goes, I'm not going to explain this for 25 minutes because I don't feel like writing that much. It's different when they organize it in the story form. So that's something that maybe we'll have to do in the future, where if someone wants to do it publicly, they send in the story first and we go from there, because I've noticed that people are going. A few days ago, there was the gentleman from India interesting situation though. That they were going to dating app sites to find a wife, not a girlfriend, not a partner, not a hookup. Isn't that interesting how different cultures are in the world? It's just crazy. It's just crazy how we don't recognize that our way of looking at the world is just our way of looking at the world within our subcultures. Because something like that, when I was younger, I'd be like, oh, that's crazy, man. That's just it's more crazy that we don't recognize just how different we all are in different cultures and different places. And then someone else does something like that. At first, you're like, really, man? You're gonna look for a wife like that? But you know what? That's how his culture runs it. That's how they do it. He doesn't seem fazed, embarrassed, shamed by it. And then we got like American culture that currently values something like Tinder, where it's casual hookups. And someone from another culture be like, oh, we would never do that. Who's right? Who's wrong? I don't know if anyone's right or wrong. It's just opinion. And when you live in different cultures or different areas, different arenas, you kind of realize you can take what you want from each one. But there's certain things that are always going to be wrong, but there's other things that are up for debate. And there's other things that you just go, up to you what you want to think, up to you what you want to believe, as long as it's not hurting other peoples and mankind. All right, folks, I think I'm going to wrap it up today. It's been a little bit slow, not because of anyone's problem, but Sabina, I appreciate you. Skinner, it's always a pleasure. I'll be sure to have more enthusiasm next time with the stories. Didn't have any call-ins today, but that's okay. The Whispered Podcast, we might have to put that on the shelf, Schwa. Derek D, Baltimore's finest. Never heard of trick-or-treating from trunks, but okay. I'm sure kids just appreciate getting the candy anyways. Azam, a very, very happy birthday. Sabina, I think you would be very good becoming professional. I don't know if you mean professional coach or you mean breakup coach. We've talked about that before. That's still on deck for my site. 28. Look up, you want to hear something. I know you're not into this that much, but Saturn's return. When I turned 28 and people go, oh, I started running into people that go, oh, Saturn's return. Oh, yeah, Saturn's return. Time to get married. Peace, Skinner. We got the countdown for the draft. All right, folks, it's Curtains. I'll be back on tomorrow, same time, 10 a.m., 10:30 a.m. Wish you all the best. Happy Halloween.